It's been about 10 years since Dodge has graced us with an all-new vehicle here in America, and even though we had to wait a decade for an all-new nameplate again, as you can see, this week I am standing by a vehicle that is quite frankly the anti-Dodge, because what we are looking at here is a compact turbocharged SUV. Dodge has always billed itself as a vehicle manufacturer that builds muscle cars, and as you can see from the looks of the Hornet, this is designed to attack the heart of the segment, which is the compact SUV market, where vehicles like the Toyota RAV4, Honda CR-V, and Mazda CX-5 plays. Now, when I first had a chance to drive the all-new Hornet in North Carolina about 3 months ago, I was pretty impressed. However, this week, as you can see, Dodge has loaned me this 2023 Hornet GT, which is essentially the base engine, which means we have nearly 270 horsepower under the hood, standard all-wheel drive, and a 9-speed automatic transmission. So if you guys are looking for a compact SUV designed to sting the competition and give you a little bit more driving dynamics, how does the all-new 2023 Dodge Hornet GT stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Now, because this is a Dodge vehicle and Dodge is all about performance, I thought I'd start off by showing you guys or reminding you guys what's underneath the hood. Now, here in America, Dodge will offer 2 different engines on the Hornet. The base engine is this GT, and then there's also a plug-in hybrid known as the RT, which you're gonna have to wait until late summer to get your hands on. Now, under the hood of the Hornet GT, we have a pretty potent engine. This is a 2-liter turbocharged gasoline direct injection 4-cylinder, part of their Hurricane engine family, and it delivers 268 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Dodge says this is the most muscle that you're gonna get as standard in the segment, because as you guys know, most vehicles in this segment have a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder with an optional turbocharged engine that you'll have to pay extra for. It all comes out, or all goes through a standard 9-speed automatic transmission, and even though this is a front drive architecture, the Hornets all come standard with all-wheel drive, so there is no front-wheel drive version. And in terms of fuel economy, this is rated at 21 in the city, 29 on the highway. Premium is recommended for performance. It has a 13.5-gallon gas tank, good for around 350-ish miles on a full tank. This vehicle is an SUV. It'll still tow a maximum of 2,000 pounds. Dodge claims 0 to 60 is 6.5 seconds for the GT, 5.6 if you guys go for the RT, which is a plug-in hybrid that has more power than this. And in terms of the curb weight, this vehicle, as it sits, weighs in at around 3,700 pounds. It's about 100 pounds lighter versus the last Mazda CX-5 Turbo that I tested, which I view as the main competitor for the Hornet. But let's go ahead and close up the hood and talk about the exterior styling. Now, if you guys don't know, this vehicle is based on the Alfa Romeo Tonale. You pretty much live under a rock if you didn't know that. You can look at the styling and see that Dodge tried to graft on their corporate design language here onto an Alfa body. You can see it's got a unique grille with these functional heat extractors. This Aki Polo yellow exterior or gold exterior is certainly very striking. This is the hero color that Dodge is launching the Hornet in. You can see all of them also come standard with these full LED headlights, which are reflector style with an LED daytime running light, LED turn signals, some functional vents, as you can see with the Dodge grille, with the Dodge logo over here, and then there's the sensor for their radar cruise control. That is actually a fake vent over here. It's just designed to be a trim piece. I would have preferred if Dodge actually just gave us some fog lights there. But overall, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of the styling. I think I actually prefer the way the Tonale looks. Even though the Dodge, I think the company did a pretty good job at grafting on the company's face onto an Alfa Romeo body. Now, moving around the side profile, this is an interesting tweener vehicle because at 178 inches long, this is longer than subcompact SUVs like a Honda HR-V, but it's not quite as big as a Honda CR-V. This is about 2 inches shorter than a Mazda CX-5, which is on the small end of the segment. Its wheelbase is 103.2 inches long. That's also around 2 inches shorter than a Mazda CX-5 and about 3 inches shorter than something like a CR-V or a RAV4. You can see my GT tester has the track package that includes these really attractive gloss black 20-inch wheels wrapped on a 235/40 ZR20 Michelin Pilot Sport all-season 4 tires. You can see you also get red painted Brembo brakes on a 13-inch rotor in the front. This is about an inch bigger versus the standard brakes, and the wheels are also 2 inches larger than the standard wheel that you get on the base Hornet. The Hornets with the track package also includes these Koni dampers, so it's got adaptive suspension, which is very rare to find in the segment. And then you can see here, it's an SUV, so you have the unpainted wheel arch trim, and then all the GTs come with around 8 inches of ground clearance, which is actually a pretty good amount. Keep in mind the RT lowers the ground ground clearance to around 6.1 inches because of the battery pack, I believe. Now looking at the side here with the mirrors, these are power folding with an integrated turn signal. They're black painted. I like the black trim. My tester is missing a sunroof. It's got a sunroof delete option, which you can still get a sunroof in this vehicle. I'd highly recommend that. And then moving around this profile here, you can see this is where you start to see a lot of the DNA from Alfa Romeo, which I think this thing is a good looking SUV. Again, it kind of reminds me a lot of Mazda's CX-5. It's in between the size of a Mazda CX-30, which I don't like the look of, and of course the CX-5, which is one of Mazda's top selling SUV. Now looking at the rear, you can see it's got a similar design language to the Charger and the Dart. You guys remember the Dodge Dart in terms of the taillights, where it's got like a three-dimensional look with full LEDs and LED light bar. The Dodge Crosshair logo there also lights up. There's a black painted GT badge along with the Hornet badge, and then you can see integrated parking sensors. No visible exhaust tips, however. The RT is the one that gets the dual outlet sport chrome exhaust tips. And then you can see here opening up the cargo area. The Hornet does have a smaller trunk than some competitors at around 27 cubic feet. I do like how there's a very nice low floor over here, which actually allows you to do two different levels. You can see there's your fix-a-flat kit, an air compressor kit, but you can also kind of lift this up and kind of give yourself a little bit more of a flat low floor, and then you also have the underfloor storage. Dodge says if you fold down the second row seats, you get a maximum of just under 55 cubic feet of space. This is a little bit more versus the RT, whereas the plug-in hybrid powertrain does rob about 5 cubic feet of total space from the cargo capacity. So let's go ahead and move on to the interior of the all-new 2023 Dodge Hornet. Before we get inside, however, let me show you guys the fob. You can see this key fob, which I was expecting Dodge to use an Alfa Romeo fob, is their old fob that says Dodge on the back. It feels plasticky. It feels a little rental car grade-ish, but it does include their smart key access system with, you can see, unlock, lock, power liftgate, a remote start and panic feature. If you have access to the Dodge app on your smartphone, you should be able to also access the vehicle remotely through that app on your phone. But as you approach the vehicle, you can see traditional door handles. Touch that button there that locks the door for you. There is no automatic walk away and unlock and lock feature, which I was surprised to see. Touch the back of the door handle, that will also unlock the door for you. Now, my tester here with the gold exterior has a black interior with contrasting red stitching, and it also has a suede Alcantara insert. These seats are part of the track package. They definitely are a little bit more aggressively bolstered. They hold you in place nicely. You have a 12-way power adjustable front seats with 3-person memory on the driver's side, which is nice. Heated seats, however, the track package removes the cooled seat function, so kind of keep that in mind. If you guys want cooled seats, you can't get it with the suede Alcantara. And then the rest of the interior, you can see, kind of reminds you a lot of an Alfa Romeo. If you guys have been inside that interior, you can see the door panel has a soft touch injection molded plastic. You have an aluminum accented door handle here. I don't love the texturized silver plastic here around the door handle, but you can see the buttons and switchgear. They feel pretty good, except for the window controls. They feel a little bit cheap, and I'm trying to remember what the window controls felt like in the Alpha. I can't remember right now. I'll have to eventually hopefully have the two cars at the same time where I can compare the two. Padded armrest over here, hard touch plastic down here. My tester has the 14-speaker Harman Kardon stereo. That's part of the Plus package. Highly recommend that if you guys are an audiophile, but it makes a relatively good first impression, although Dodge does not offer a lighter color interior on this vehicle, and I kind of hope that they change that. I would like to see a brown or a light gray interior. Now getting inside, so the step in height, like I said earlier, 8 inches of ground clearance, so it's a nice step in height. You can see you're greeted with the Dodge, the front of the Dodge Hornet in the instrument panel. As I get in and shut the door has a nice solid sounding thunk, which gives you the impression of quality. Now start stop button is down here, which is different versus the Alpha. Alpha puts the start stop button on the steering wheel, where Dodge decided they're gonna put the sport button here, versus on the GT or the RT where they put the sport button here. So there's a lot of mismatch and some mixing here and there, which is gonna take some getting used to. Let me crank that fan speed down. It is a little bit hot outside today. In terms of the dashboard, you can see soft touch injection molded plastic on the upper portion here, some faux stitching with red contrast stitching on this soft touch area here. You've got a unique design to the dashboard, although it is kind of similar to the Alpha. This is an Alpha steering wheel, as you can see, with the flat bottom design. No paddles on the wheel. You have to go for the RT trim, the plug-in hybrid, to get the paddles, but you can see a lot of controls here for your driver assistance to change and adjust the way that screen looks. If you push that, you can kind of change the way that looks. The horn sounds good. It sounds mean and aggressive. It doesn't sound puny, even though this is a small car, which is nice. Headlight controls are over here. Your turn signal and cruise control stalks or cruise control buttons are here. The controls themselves, they definitely are taken from Alpha, and I also don't like how the turn signal returns back to center whenever you're signaling. I don't like that. I prefer it to stay in place and then go back whenever I'm done with executing my lane change or my turn. But I will say that this feels more high quality than other Dodge products because it's an Alpha. You can see the screen here, 10.25 inches, 12.3 inch fully digital cluster. If I put the vehicle into sport mode, you can see it does change the way it looks slightly. Gives you a slightly different look, but you can also, for example, push this button here and you can also change this to put, for example, the GPS display in there. So I love the fact that you have an all digital display. Definitely brings this car into the modern 21st century. I also like the Alpha-based infotainment system here, which is technically Uconnect 5, which again, it has its own little different skin to it where it looks a little bit different. It includes wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. I have a love-hate relationship with Uconnect 5 because sometimes it works perfectly where my phone pairs up, it has wireless over-the-air updates, and then other times it doesn't want to pair my phone up and it's really laggy and slow. So that's all software. Dodge and Stellantis can make updates to that as time goes on. This vehicle also has embedded GPS, which is nice. The GPS is nothing super special, but it does get the job done. It's relatively quick and snappy. There's the CarPlay. As you can see, it takes up almost the entire screen with the actual rest of the buttons kind of centered in the side and at the top, which is nice. You can also go into your vehicle settings and whatnot. But overall, this system is pretty nice. Did not mean to do that. Yeah, so that is kind of annoying. Okay, there we go. Accidentally turned that on. The on-off switch is right here for the wiper control, so that was kind of a little bit of annoyance. Looking at the rest of this area here, you can see you have dual zone climate control, which is nice, wireless phone charging pad. You have your auto start stop defeat over there, and then this controls the 9-speed automatic transmission. You can see when I put the vehicle into reverse, I have the full surround view camera. That's included when you guys go for the the Plus package, which is nice. It has a full 360 view. Graphics are fine. It has front and rear parking sensors. And has a trajectory as well. So again, nice that Dodge is including that feature. You have a volume control here, electronic parking brake, electronic stability control, off switch over here. I don't love the cheap material here, this silver painted plastic, which tries to look like aluminum. I like how it doesn't show, fingerprints and whatnot, but you can see it actually does show scratches. There's a little bit of a scratch here. This is a pretty well-used press car, so I'm gonna have to wait until I can see another version. This one is probably from the launch where these are maybe early pre-production cars. You can see nice padded center console, decent amount of storage in here. You have 2 USB ports over here, a USB-A and a USB-C. And then I mentioned earlier, the seats are pretty comfortable and supportive. They hold you in place a little bit nicely. I'm sad that you lose the cooled seat function. The passenger side seat here is actually an 8-way 12-way power adjustment as well. So it's nice that Dodge didn't cheap out and you're not dealing with a manual seat or a 4-way seat on the passenger side, which is great. The glove compartment you can see is huge. It's damped but not lined with felt. It's a bin style, which is nice. The rearview mirror is an auto dimming rearview mirror, but there's no digital camera rearview mirror. Without the sunroof, you can see lots of headroom, LED map lighting throughout as well, and then no heads-up display. But overall, the interior definitely has a more upscale premium vibe to it, although there are some cheaper materials to remind you that this is a lower end of the totem pole Dodge. And I will say, mine must be an early pre-production car because I'm seeing some fitment issues here along there. So I'll have to wait until I get one that's an actual production car that's not a pre-production to show you guys if the interior quality is better. But let me go ahead and hop into the back seat area and show you guys what the space is like. Now, in terms of space back here, you can see I don't have the final legroom figures just yet. These seats do fold down in a 60-40 manner, and then the materials back here are hard touch plastic, which is a shame. But in terms of the legroom, let's go ahead and get inside and shut the door. You can see I'd probably estimate this is around 35 inches of legroom, which is fine for somebody my height. There's a good hump over here that intrudes into the middle passenger. You do have rear seat air vents. You have 2 USB charging ports, which is nice. You have 2 storage cubbies. And then you can see here, the seats folds down, or the armrest folds down, gives you 2 cup holders. And if you want to fold down the seats, you can see the seats fold down, and they don't give you a completely flat floor. There's a little bit of a slope here. But again, you get that nice versatility. And overall, if you need to put adults back here, average size adults will fit just fine. In terms of the headroom, you can see my head is somewhat relatively close to the ceiling. The sunroof is going to end up taking up space, but overall you can see the back seat is definitely a good place to spend time for average size adults and kids. So it's been about 3 months since I was behind the wheel of the all-new Dodge Hornet. I even had a chance to drive its sister vehicle from Italy, which actually this car is also from Italy, the Alfa Romeo Tonale. Now, unlike the Tonale, This vehicle is available with a turbocharged gas-only engine, making around 268 horsepower. It's kind of a shame that Alfa doesn't offer this powertrain, because with the 9-speed auto, this is definitely one of the quickest and sportiest driving crossovers out there. In fact, Dodge likes to basically say that the Mazda CX-5 is their main competitor, and that's a fair assumption, because the Mazda has always been a slightly smaller but very sporty compact SUV. And that's kind of the way the Dodge Hornet is, especially, you know, now that I'm behind the wheel back in my home area. It definitely gives you that sense that you're driving a hot hatch as opposed to an SUV, although this vehicle does offer around 8 inches of ground clearance. Now, let's go ahead and test out what we can get 0 to 60 wise on our usual stretch of road. This vehicle comes standard with all-wheel drive. It has a 9-speed auto. It's in sport mode. Let's go ahead and brake torque it. Ooh, love the shifts. The car feels quick, wow. 5.6 seconds here on, this is the same stretch of road that I tested a Mazda CX-5 Signature Turbo on, and I got 6.6 in the Mazda. So this Dodge just beat that Mazda's time by a full second, and that's also almost a full second quicker than Dodge's claim of 6.5 seconds for basically the GT version. Remember, the plug-in hybrid RT is actually going to be quicker. They say 5.8 seconds for that vehicle, but I just beat that time in the turbo only version, so that's impressive. I knew this thing felt fast. It felt fast when I was in North Carolina driving it, but it definitely feels fast here on my usual stretches of road. Let's go ahead and try it around here as well, or on this stretch. This is with it more slightly uphill, because I want to see what the difference is. We'll brake torque it again. This thing doesn't have torque steer, but you can feel the front is fighting for grip. 5.98 seconds there. Again, that is with it more slightly uphill. So I am very, very impressed with how fast this car is. It feels properly quick. It feels actually like fast. It's faster than a Volkswagen GTI. And this isn't even the RT version. I mean, this will smoke sport compact vehicles with their manual transmissions. And it's kind of hilarious, because this is a compact SUV with 8 inches of ground clearance. Granted, my tester does have the track package with these 20-inch wheels, Brembo brakes, Koni adaptive dampers. It is a serious sporty package that you typically don't find in the compact SUV segment. So in terms of acceleration, has this thing overthrown the other speed king, the Mazda CX-5? Absolutely. Mazda's vehicle basically gets held back by that slow shifting 6-speed auto. This 8-speed, as you guys, or this 9-speed, as you guys saw, really quick, very snappy. No paddles on the wheel though. That's kind of interesting, because the RT version is the one that has the paddles. It's got the 6-speed auto, but for some reason with the track package, this car is missing paddles. I think it's kind of, it should have been here. I mean, the whole rest of the vehicle, I mean, just the steering, it's really direct, it's really quick, it's really responsive. The suspension also is in its firmer setting right now in sport mode. And for an SUV, it stays pretty flat. I mean, it feels confidence inspiring, and that's kind of crazy to feel with a vehicle like this, because it drives so extremely well. I'm just shocked at how well it actually drives. The visibility and the seats, the way they hold you in place as well, is also just really impressive. Like the track seats that you get, or the track package, includes kind of these Alcantara seats, which really hug you in place even more. And I'm just shocked. This thing is so much fun to drive, but it doesn't really surprise me. Dodge is all about performance. They're all about speed, attainable blue collar speed. So that's kind of the thing that Dodge is really known for. Now, all-wheel drive is standard, like I said, but it should have the ability to send the power out to the back. Definitely a little bit more. Man, that first to second gear shift just is quick. It really puts a huge smile on my face. I've never actually felt this kind of fun and just this playfulness in a crossover before. And it doesn't surprise me, because this is also, remember, an Alfa Romeo Tonale, and the Alfa is known for building really sporty, really fun to drive cars, so that doesn't surprise me at all. But let me go ahead and try it one more time here on this stretch. We're not gonna brake torque it this time. We're just gonna floor it and see if that makes a difference. The sound is also pretty decent. I like the sound of the engine. 5.8 there, so if you brake torque it, it'll shave about 0.2 seconds off the 0 to 60 time. So 5.6 is the absolute quickest, and that is quick enough. That is easily one of the quickest accelerating compact SUVs out there. This is even faster than the plug-in hybrid Toyota RAV4 Prime, which I believe I got 5.7 seconds in that vehicle. So again, if you want speed, this is definitely going to give that to you. But The front tires there were spinning as I put my foot down. That's awesome. But let's go ahead and take it out of sport mode, because most people aren't going to be driving an SUV like that in sport mode constantly. And when you take it out of sport mode, the vehicle drives actually really nice. The adaptive dampers get into a softer setting. The steering gets a little bit lighter. The suspension gets a little bit softer. The throttle response gets a little bit restrained, so it's not super tippy and aggressive. And the vehicle drives like a really sporty crossover, but that's also still livable. I mean, remember, starting off as a premium brand, you kind of get that sense that you're driving a more premium car. The structure feels solid, the ride is good. It's also very quiet in here. The engine doesn't really make much in terms of noise. There's a decent snarl when you get your foot into it, but it's not, you know, super loud, super obnoxious. The visibility in here is okay. I will say that these A-pillars are thick, so you kind of have to look around them. The view out of the back is fine, although Dodge doesn't offer the digital camera or mirror. And then all the driver assistance tech, most of it is included in this Plus package trim, and it works fine. I will say that it's not the best that I've sampled in the industry. There are definitely some better mainstream lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control systems that I've tried, but Alfa and Dodge, they're certainly getting up there. This vehicle lacks things like a heads-up display. That's something that the Mazda CX-5 offers. And then my tester doesn't have ventilated seats, because the track package with this Alcantara removes the ventilated seats, and then it also deletes the sunroof, which I'm kind of sad about, but you can get a sunroof on this vehicle if you'd like. So kind of keep that in mind. But the seats at least are comfortable, and I found this car to be comfortable and quiet and easy to live with. So even though it's sporty, it's still comfortable, and you could daily drive this vehicle. You could take it on longer road trips. In terms of fuel economy, it's rated at 21 in the city, 29 on the highway. In my week's worth of driving, I was averaging around 20 in the city, when that's with it driving more aggressively. On the highway, I did see around 28 mpg, which is not bad. Premium is recommended. It's showing around 350. You'll probably get around 350 to 400 miles on a full tank if you're driving it more conservatively. Because remember, this vehicle has somewhat of a small 13.5 gallon gas tank. If you can believe it, the plug-in hybrid's actually even smaller by 2 gallons. But overall, you know, Dodge hasn't given us a compact SUV since the ill-fated Caliber, and that vehicle started life as a Jeep. Obviously, Dodge decided to go to Alfa this time for their, you know, compact SUV, and I think it was an excellent place to start. However, only time will tell if Dodge has managed to, you know, fix a lot of the gremlins that we deal with Italian cars, like the electrical glitches, the reliability problems. This model here that I've had in a week has been flawless for the most part. It's nice. It's a really nice driving vehicle, but you know, who knows what it would be like if you drove this thing on a daily basis and you took it on longer drives and longer trips and whatnot. But overall, I am relatively impressed with the way this vehicle drives. If you're considering something like a Mazda CX-5, but you want something that's even quicker, even sportier, with a better infotainment system, with a larger or with a similar size screen, but an all digital instrument panel, you should definitely be putting the all new Dodge Hornet at the very top of your list. So after spending a full week with the all-new 2023 Dodge Hornet, again, we've waited a long time for Dodge to finally give us an all-new product, and I have to say, was it worth the wait? I mean, if you guys are looking for a compact SUV that is definitely a lot sportier than the competition, this should make it to the very top of your list. As you guys saw, even though this is the base engine, I got 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds, which makes this one of the quickest accelerating compact non-luxury SUVs that you can buy, and even in the real world, without doing the launch control or the brake torquing, you can still get it in under 6 seconds. This is quicker than a Mazda CX-5. It's quicker than even a Toyota RAV4 Prime, which has always been the speed king. In terms of the handling, this thing feels like a hot hatch. It's a little bit tall, obviously, but it has steering, it has brakes, it has a suspension system that gives you kind of that sporty feel. For those of you who are coming from like a GTI, you're gonna definitely like the way this feels. In terms of the interior tech, I think that Alfa has done a good job at improving their system, which Dodge basically just took, although there are certain things about it that still feel a little bit wonky, where I noticed that the software lagged at times. The wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, however, did work pretty well, and I like the digital screen. The seats also are comfortable. The back seat is unfortunately tight, which is fine if you guys are also considering the Mazda CX-5 that also has a tight back seat and a tight trunk area. But again, if you guys want that maximum space, you're going to want to take a look at other competitors like the RAV4, the Honda CR-V, the Volkswagen Tiguan, for example. This is definitely the driver's SUV. SUV in the segment, and that's kind of exactly what Dodge was going for. Now, if you guys are interested in purchasing this vehicle, the Hornet actually has a relatively reasonable starting price of just over $30,000, about $30,700 plus destination. That is obviously about $4 to $5 grand more expensive than its competitors, almost $9 grand more expensive if you're going to look at something like the subcompact segment like a Mazda CX-30. However, keep in mind, if you want the turbocharged engine, this is where the Dodge has some value, because if you look at the main competitor, which is the CX-5, a turbo version of that car starts at around $36,000 for base. This is where the Hornet, starting at just under 31, is a screaming deal. Now, if you guys want the Plus package, I highly recommend that for the additional tech that it gives you for an extra $5 grand. That's going to start at around $35,000. My tester with the technology package, the track package, and the blacktop package, and the Aki Polo yellow or gold paint, this one here all in comes in at just over $42,000. 42 grand I know is a lot of money, but keep in mind you can also spend around 40,000 plus on a Mazda CX-5 or a Toyota RAV4 or a Honda CR-V, for example. So Dodge has essentially priced it well. However, you are going to be giving up in terms of interior space and practicality, and as long as you're okay with that and you want something that's different, you want something that's sporty, I highly recommend the all-new Dodge Hornet. And also keep in mind the plug-in hybrid GT will be going on sale later this summer, and we don't have the final pricing just yet of that one, but it does undercut the Alpha by about a couple $1,000s. I believe when I last drove that vehicle, Dodge was estimating it to be around $41,000 to start. So basically where this car ends for the GT, the RT is going to start at that, and you're going to be spending closer to $50 for a fully loaded version. Which, with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2023 Dodge Hornet GT. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.